Madame, Monsieur, bonjour. C'est un heureux plaisir de vous retrouver ce matin pour la dernière édition de la revue de Grande Une de cette semaine. Nous allons aller directement dans les kiosques comme d'habitude pour notre traditionnelle revue de presse. Commençons donc par le quotidien Messager. Messager qui met en sa une tribunal criminel spécial, 13 affaires enrôlées, 2 décisions rendues, 30 dossiers en attente et 25 en information judiciaire. Après 2 mois d'activité, Yap Abdou, le président du tribunal criminel spécial et son équipe ont du grain à moudre. Crise à la Citrafait, Jean-Marie Zambo-Amougou. Le gouvernement doit prendre position. Le président de la Confédération syndicale des travailleurs du Cameroun esquisse des pistes de solutions. Hommage, la dernière analyse du professeur Maurice Tadadieu, des extraits de l'entretien du linguiste avec le Messager avant sa mort. Article à lire en page 8 et 9 du journal. Deuxième pont sur le Vouri, pourquoi Sogea Satom a raflé la mise. Les dessous de l'attribution d'un marché de 119 milliards de francs CFA, dont selon le journal indique, le marché a été accordé dans un accord de gré à gré. Voilà l'essentiel de l'information parue à la une du quotidien Le Messager. Mutation pour sa part, mais en grande une révélation. Alex Van Elk accable le gouvernement dans une interview exclusive accordée en mutation. L'ancien directeur général de Camerco accuse le gouvernement d'avoir validé un faux rapport. Par ailleurs, il dénonce le commissaire aux comptes, Okala Oranda associé, dont il dit qu'il a effectué un audit dans l'entreprise dont il dirigeait sans l'avoir rencontré, lui, en tant que directeur général, ce qui lui permet de dire que le rapport est véritablement un faux rapport, malheureusement validé par le gouvernement. Logements sociaux, le projet Olembe et Yassa dans l'impasse. Les 10 000 appartements supposés être livrés en 2012, TAD a sorti de terre. Pourtant, de fortes sommes d'argent ont été englouties. Dossier du journal Mutation en pages 12 et 13. Insécurité, une lycéenne assassinée à Yaoundé, la dépouille de Claude Michel Mbala a été trouvé en état de décomposition avancée mardi dernier. Et puis la crise centrafricaine. Dialogue de sourds à Libreville, titre le quotidien Mutation. Alors que le président François Bozizé refuse de négocier sa sortie, les rebelles exigent son départ. Point mort donc des négociations du côté de Libreville. Article à lire en page 15 du journal. Voilà donc l'essentiel de l'information paru à la une du quotidien Mutation. La nouvelle expression pour sa part qui revient sur ces revendications du syndicat des transporteurs du Cameroun. Le spectre de 2008 plane encore, titre le journal La nouvelle expression. La Confédération générale des syndicats des transports du Cameroun lance un préavis de grève pour le 31 janvier 2013. À l'éthique à lire en page 3 du quotidien. La nouvelle expression se rappelle d'ailleurs, indique le journal, que les émeutes de 2008 était parti de la hausse du prix du carburant. Cinquantenaire de la réunification, les préparatifs sont relancés malgré tout. Jean-Claude Bouentou a même donné un délai de 4 mois aux entreprises adjudicataires pour livrer le chantier. Article à lire en page 5 du quotidien. La nouvelle expression, opération épervier, l'autre procès d'Urbain Olanguenaono. L'ancien ministre de la Santé publique a été poursuivi pour un détournement de 200 millions de francs CFA. Article à lire en page 2 du journal. Et puis chez les Lions indomptables du Cameroun, Jean-Paul Akono qui parle de sa candidature. L'article revient donc dans les pages de sport du quotidien La Nouvelle Expression, la page 6 à la page 8. Grande réalisation, 84 milliards de francs CFA pour le pont du Vouri. Et le ministre des Travaux publics a justifié pourquoi le marché a été attribué en catimini à Sogea Satom. Allez découvrir en page 3 du journal les raisons de cette attribution, de cet accord à gré entre l'État du Cameroun et l'entreprise Sogea Satom. Démocraties africaines, les raisons de l'absence d'alternance. Les Africains avaient espoir que la lointaine chute du mur de Berlin change aussi quelque chose pour eux. Seulement 3 points de suspension. Titre le journal. Article à découvrir en page 3 du quotidien La Nouvelle Expression paru en kiosque ce matin. Un autre journal, c'est le bi-hebdomadaire Aurore Plus, le journal de Michel Michaud-Moussala, qui met en sa grande une litige foncier avec tacite de forfaiture dans l'affaire Ekoko et Tinda, un article à lire en page 9. Mais le plus gros dossier ici, c'est la sauce à laquelle les Camerounais vont être mangés en 2013, et surtout le journal qui parcourt de la page 2 à la page 8 fait un gros zoom sur l'affaire Amidou Marafa Yaya, en titrant l'affaire Marafa Yaya qui donne des insomnies au gouvernement, la refonte biométrique controversée sur les inscriptions sur les listes électorales, les états généraux de la communication de Issa Chiroma, navigation à vue de Camerco, l'affaire Vanessa Tchatchou, délit d'initié au sommet de l'État avec l'affaire Fambia et 100 milliards de francs CFA, le trafic d'organes humains à l'hôpital Lakentine de Douala, l'année blanche et sèche pour le sport camerounais sur toute la ligne. Voilà quelques, on peut dire, une sorte de bilan que le journal Aurore Plus fait de l'année 2012. Article donc, comme je le disais tantôt, à découvrir en page 2, de la page 2 à la page 8 du journal Aurore Plus. Et puis le conseil électoral, le remplacement de Pauline Billon suscite la contestation à l'UPC Wandi, un article à lire en page 10 du journal. Et puis garde présidentielle, chargement en vue du colonel Etoundi par le colonel Mida, certainement suite aux nombreux rumeurs, les bruits de bottes qui courent dans ce corps d'élite chargé de la sécurité du président de la République. À présent, le quotidien satirique Le Popoli, qui a mis en sa une Philémon Yan et si Paul Biya, s'il n'en voulait plus, son nom est fait l'objet de tous les Congossas. Titre, le journal, on peut lire aussi dans la caricature l'échange entre le chef de l'État et son premier ministre Philémon Yan, le chef de l'État qui est en train d'embarquer donc pour la Suisse, qui dit à Philémon Yan, au cas où tu veux partir en mon absence, songe à déclarer tes biens chez les Perviers. Titre donc le journal. Voilà donc l'essentiel de l'information paru à la une du quotidien satirique Le Popoli, même si juste en haut de page, le journal met infidélité, il refuse d'écraser sa femme depuis 15 ans. Des affaires, dans tous les cas, des affaires croustillantes, comme Le Popoli sait très bien en fournir aux lecteurs. Et puis Centrale à gaz de Créby, déjà du retard dans la livraison du gaz. À présent, terminons cette revue de presse avec le quotidien L'Actu qui met en sa une Samuel Eto'o-Fils, comment je suis devenu une star. Le capitaine des Lions indomptables raconte sa réussite dans le football et son rêve pour l'Afrique. Affrontement à Fumban, titre le journal en bas de page. Des militants de Namjoya aux arrêts, ils avaient manifesté devant le palais du sultan Mbombo Njoya, article à lire en page 3 du journal L'Actu. Voilà donc l'essentiel de l'information paru dans les kiosques ce matin. Nous allons commencer une fois de plus. Peut-être hier, on n'a pas pu avoir notre invité. Ce matin, un de nos consultants permanents qui n'a pas pu être là, Camille Nélé, empêché. Donc, on va avoir un seul invité sur le plateau, un de nos consultants permanents, Solomon Amabo. Solomon Amabo, once more, good morning. Welcome to the last edition of La Revue de Grande of this week.
Thank you, Jean-Paul Chunyat, for being here. I see the papers are having diverse subjects we're going to handle today.
So we are going to start with the messenger, as we quote in English, concerning special
criminal court.
On dit 13 affaires enrôlées, 2 décisions rendues, 30 dossiers en attente et 25 en information judiciaire. Solomon Amabo, in 2 months, is it not too much?
Well, there are issues of the courts. I want to think the courts is so far, the criminal court is so far doing its job, because we know there are problems of delay at the level of judging those who have been detained in prison. So if the criminal court can handle 13 affairs or can handle 13 cases in less than 2 months, and 2 decisions have so far been made public, or the verdict have been made public. One concerning the Malian guy who was jailed. Yes. People expect more from this particular court, because we know, according to what the message is saying, the court handles cases when it concerns embezzlement of funds above 50 million CFA francs. And we don't want to come back to all the discussions about the controversy surrounding the creation of that court. All the they're saying it's competent in handling matters and in repatriating tracing especially the stolen funds. So 30 case files still waiting, and already 25. We want to believe it. If the information is quite true, which we want to believe is true, then the court is out for business, and we expect expedient justice to be done and to be seen to have been done. That's what Cameroonians expect. So Yap Adu, we want to see
the president
of the court. He's a super skilled magistrate. We want to believe he's doing his job, and we want to believe he's rendering justice with his conscience and with respect to the law concerning what messages publishing this morning.
Which is the important matter. So the important matter is just to render the case with a kind of equity, with no
yes, no favor. It should not, the court should not be seen as another form of as another tool to maybe crush political opponents. You saw the message yesterday writing and other papers reporting how the fight against corruption is to maybe to crush political opponents who are maybe struggling to wrest power from the president. So if they already have a series of case files, now people want to know who are those whose files are behind, are being handled by the judges.
We are talking of number of files or number of people who are supposed to be
judged.
To be judged there. If we link it with the state of prisons in Cameroon, finally.
Well, it becomes a real problem because as 2000...
Where are they going to put these people?
Eventually, the Minister of Justice created new prisons. We don't know why the one in Japoma on the outskirts of Douala has not so far been... construction work has not started. We want to believe there's a problem with overpopulation of overcrowdedness of the prisons in Cameroon. In 2006, the Minister of Justice, then Minister of Justice Amadou Ali said, he said we had 70 prisons, and then we had 3,500 warders taking care of these prisoners. So you see, the ratio is not all that balanced. But maybe they are going to build more prisons. But the most important people want to know is how the funds are going to be repatriated. And then this court, there were even doubts about this court, because if Michel Fosso reimbursed money to the court, but his matter did not end because maybe of some procedural problems.
Is it going to change something?
Well, even if it doesn't change, but the fact that he gives money is something for the government of Cameroon.
Vous parlez de la construction des prisons. On parle par exemple des logements sociaux, les 10 000 logements sociaux qui étaient qui devaient être supposés livrés en 2012, qui n'ont pas été livrés. Pourtant, beaucoup d'argent a été englouti dans cette affaire. Est-ce que finalement, ce n'est pas des projets dont on ne voit pas?
Well, if you had opposition leaders in 2012, even early 2013, they were saying that the president spent his time laying foundation stones all over the country. People want to see real work begin. And the contractors were complaining about poor weather and a delay by the government to provide the necessary funds to put up the structures. But want to believe,
without forgetting some corruption,
corrupt practices going on. We were talking a while ago or yesterday about the collapse of the gymnasium. So it becomes a problem. Why are things not done the way they're supposed to do and within the time frame? Maybe we're going to discuss more when we come to the construction of the second bridge over the Wuri, and then the structures to host reunification in Boya.
The matter. Now, à propos du deuxième pont sur le Wuri, finalement, Sogia Satom, l'entreprise française qui a raflé la mise, on parle d'un marché passé gré à gré, 84 milliards de francs CFA.
Now, well, it's too much. 84 billion CFA francs for a contract of that amount to be handed to a to a company.
But don't forget that it is financed by Caisse Française,
except
the
financing. The article does not reveal that it's financed by the French Development Fund, but we want to know why they did not follow the procedure. And so personally, when I read the article, I realized that it was handed to Satom by the Minister in charge of Public Contracts,
yes,
just handed over to without the usual call for tenders and the normal procedure. So maybe the minister has confidence in the company, or I don't know how come, because tomorrow we're going to still witness a situation where the contract has been awarded but nothing is done to eventually the contract, according to what we heard, is supposed to start, the second bridge over the Wuri is supposed to start this January 2013. So we still expect, we are still on the 11th, we still have some days to go. So we're going to see whether Satom is going to respect its own part of the bargain, given that the contract has been awarded to her without any call for tenders, as is usually the case.
Yeah, Solomon Amabo, another project, the celebration of reunification,
yes,
in Boya, was supposed to take place in 2012, but finally we are in 2013.
Yes.
And Jean-Claude Bouenchou, the minister who said that in 4 months the works are going to be achieved.
Now, he is saying he's giving the contractors 4 months for the work to be done. Now, you see how, if you read the article published by La Nouvelle Expression, it is saying that Jean-Claude Bouenchou gave the contractors 4 months to finish work. But the governor had earlier given the contractors up to the 31st of March. So, who is controlling what now? That is the real problem. And the contractors too were complaining that the funds came late. That's why there were delays in execution of the respective projects. So Jean-Claude Bouenchou was in the Southwest and they're expressing disappointment with the slow pace at which work is being done. We just have 4 issues. There are 3 towns: Limbe, Kumba, and Boya. So the hotel, the parliamentary flat where the notification document was signed, we hear work has been done 90% and the contract was won by a Chinese firm. But the one on the Paramount Hotel or so is only 30% gone. So the minister is giving 4 months, the governor is giving 3 months. So who now is really in charge if you go by the article published by La Nouvelle Expression of this morning?
Can it be possible that talking of 31st January 2030 that this work is going to be complete?
Well, we can't tell. Once the means are available, they can work day and night. We've seen how they constructed roads in the day and in the night, and it's done within the time frame. So they have up to the 31st of March to complete the work. And the governor even threatened to arrest the contractors who would not respect the deadline which had been given them. So we do expect to see, it should not end at the level of threats, but the governor should not only threaten them, but should ensure that they to receive the funds to enable them complete the work which was given them.
Solomon Amabo, on parle des revendications des transporteurs. Le quotidien La Nouvelle Expression qui titre Le spectre de 2008 plane encore. On se rappelle qu'en 2008, tout était parti de la hausse du prix du carburant. Ici, c'est le syndicat des transporteurs qui dénonce les conditions dans lesquelles ses membres travaillent, licenciement abusif, salaire de misère, mauvais état du matériel d'exploitation. Is there a real fear that what happened in 2008
well
happened?
They're
announcing that they're going on strike on 31st January 2013.
Well, that is the reading by La Nouvelle Expression, which is saying le spectre de 2008 plan encore. Well, it's a kind of alarm, but I want to think that if you look at what happened in 2008, the context might be different, because in 2008 the February demonstrations came within the backdrop of protest against the modification of the constitution. So I don't want to believe that the transporters might
concern the political side.
Yes. Now, but socially speaking, they have grievances which they have tabled to the titular authorities. They have issues which they have tabled: poor working conditions, low pay, and the lack of respect of maybe the commitment of the companies to affiliate them to the social insurance fund. So these are issues they've raised. Now, it depends on how the government is going to handle the issues which have been raised.
We still remember that at that time, the government signed a decree to reduce the price of basic commodities.
Yes.
But now the price are still increasing.
Now, it's saying one thing and doing the other. You know, the government created MIRAP, the special unit to ensure to provide goods of basic necessity to locals at very affordable cost. But we realized that the same officials of MIRAP were buying what was supposed to be sold to the locals. So it becomes a problem to those who are observing what is going on in Cameroon. Now, coming back to La Nouvelle Expression, the publication is saying that there's a spectre of the 2008 demonstrations coming. It should not be taken lightly, because you remember La Nouvelle Expression published the other day that demanded of Elekma that expired. They were on rooftops saying no, but finally the president signed a decree to say so. I want to think La Nouvelle Expression very seriously, and the transporters' problem should be handled, because if they are on strike, the economy is grounded and it will affect the common man. So it becomes a real problem.
Solomon Amabo cannot even go to his native land.
That is it, Jampusho.
Now, we are talking about Central African Republic crisis, mutation, who is saying that dialogue dessous à Libreville. François Bozizé refuse de négocier sa sortie. Les rebelles exigent son départ. Ça semble bloqué. Quelle pourrait donc être la solution finale?
It's a big deadlock. We watched the images in different television channels. The rebels are saying that one of the preconditions for them to continue with negotiations is for Francois Bozizé to step down. Simple as that. Then an official from Bozizé's side of the government, or from Bozizé's government, is saying that if he steps down, they are violating the constitution. So it's a kind of, but negotiations are due to continue this morning in Libreville, Gabon. So, but it's a very difficult situation to handle for the Central African Republic.
But this kind of hard situation, hard position of
the rebels and the government.
The rebel and the government, maybe on the field, the war is going to continue.
But fighting is going on. The Seleka rebels are still fighting. And
occupy the territory.
The territory. And you see them in military regalia on television during negotiations. It's tell you they are not out to joke. They know if those who are there are arrested, they will continue the struggle at the level of the Central African Republic. So, but it's not something to pleasant for the African continent, because the Central African sub-region, because they can spill over to neighboring countries.
Solomon Amabo, dernière articulation, les révélations d'Alex Van Elk, l'ancien directeur général de Camerco,
yes,
qui dit dans une interview accordée à Mutation, accuse le gouvernement d'avoir validé un faux rapport. Premier aspect, le cabinet qui a effectué l'audit interne ne l'a pas rencontré en tant que directeur général. Est-il possible qu'on dresse un rapport sans avoir rencontré le directeur général et qu'il soit crédible?
That is the conflict between internal and external auditors in particular companies. It happened in Chantier Naval, where Fonjindam was saying that they did the audit without consulting him. So Van Elk, now he has been shown the door out of the company. So he should not be like Marafa, because I read the interview, he's saying that he was working with incompetent people, yes, and people who were not up to task. So the government spent huge sums of money just for people who were unable to deliver.
People to train?
That is it. So I want to think...
it can be true, because we know in which condition people are recruited
in Cameroon. It's very true what he's saying, and he's not mincing words. He's saying that there's another report which the company is due to forward to the administration as part of his own side of the story. And it becomes a real problem how an audit report will be done, and then it's forwarded to the administration. Decisions are taken without Van Elk being consulted.
Thank you once more, Mr. Solomon Amabo. Surely we are going to meet on Monday for another edition, but it will be in company of another guest, a French-speaking guest. Thank you for your presence at la Revue de Grande Une. Madame, Monsieur, la pensée du jour, l'intelligence, c'est de prévoir celle des autres. La pensée du jour, l'intelligence, c'est de prévoir celle des autres. L'intelligence, c'est de prévoir celle des autres. Cette pensée est de Georges Perros. Madame, Monsieur, nous sommes arrivés au terme de cette édition de la Revue des Grandes Unes. Dear televiewers, we have come to the end of our program. Stay tuned on Equinox program, or either you switch off your TV and do something else. Bye-bye. Let us see on Monday for another rendezvous. Bye-bye.